What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Missunconventional podcast. I am your girl, Melinda J from YouTube. So please feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can view all that good content that is over there. I talk about self-help, self-love, enlightenment content. I do commentary on the shows that I watch, as well as my log journey and so much more. I haven't posted much on my log journey because, as I stated in the first video that I did with my log journey, it's fairly sacred. I pretty much used that first year as a sacred moment because of what I was going through at that time. And then whenever it hits to that year and a half point, as well as the second year point, then that's when I'll start doing more videos of wash days or soaks and so forth and so on. But in my opinion, it's really not that much when it comes to locking your hair, at least in my point of view, because I kept it simple. I did not go all extravagant and all sorts of things. I really just kept it simple and let my hair just do what it needs, do what it wants to do. And so far, I am loving it. Best decision that I ever made for my hair journey wise, because I have been natural since 2011, since I graduated high school. So yeah. And then for me to lock up my hair now, I'm like, dang, I should did this a long time ago. But anyways, today's topic today is going to be about self-worth. And I feel like this is a pretty prevalent topic, especially nowadays in the age of technology where people are, and like myself in some aspects, that either fake it till they make it, or they just live this facade and don't want people to know exactly what is who the true person is. However, I mean, it can either work in a good way or in a bad way. In my case, it worked out for the better because I'm still learning, especially on the spiritual journey that I am embarking in. Of course, life in itself is a journey and we're always learning. And I don't mind learning at all. It's just whether to follow the right crowd, the right people in order to keep ascending on your in your life's purpose. So and I had I have that question asked a whole lot whenever I'm joining organizations and stuff like that, about are you a leader or are you a follower? And I would always answer the question, I am a leader, because I have the capabilities and the characteristics, as well as the qualifications, depending on which organization it is, to become a leader. I know, and of course, people will get taken back with that answer. However, when it comes to following, of course, you can always be a follower, but you got to take heed of being a follower, because sometimes being a follower can lead you to the wrong path to where you're not able to get out of. So to a great extent capacity, I am a leader by default. There's only so many people that I will follow in order to get to the end goal, and then I'll start again and try to find some more leaders that I can follow, meaning being a student too, in order to become the mentor or the leader of either as an organization or business forum. So yeah, with that being said, today's topic is definitely going to be about self-worth, as well as a quick life update. Now, for my podcast listeners, I know y'all haven't heard from me in a while, and I appreciate all the the listening ears that have been tuning into my podcast so far, and that is Missunconventional Podcast. It is streaming on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Google Podcasts, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it is Google Podcasts, but yeah, Google Podcasts, and also iHeartRadio. And there are other streaming platforms that my podcast is streaming on as well. So feel free to check my content out there and see how you like it. All right. And don't forget to follow the podcast on Instagram, on Facebook. I will be getting back on being consistent on that end, as far as like posting or some self-help tips on the Instagram and Facebook page, so I can keep you engaged and occupied while I work on my other endeavors. But let's get into the life update before I move into the meat and potatoes of today's topic. Quick life update. Well, part of my disappearance so far is because of work. My schedule is very fluctuated, so I have to adjust, and it fluctuates monthly because the days that I work, they're consistent throughout the month for the most part, at least for 2 weeks, and then it will switch up to a couple of days. And then after I get off work, I get so drained from soaking up all those energies to where I don't want to do anything. And when the work day does fall on a Tuesday, that's what I usually initiate and release my podcast on that day. It can get in the way once I'm at work because, I'm dealing with people. So that's one of the things that's put me on a pause. And also, I'm also in school as well, an online school to be exact. It's a 6-month program to where I am still utilizing what I'm doing now, which is tapping into astrology and chakras and numerology and metaphysics and Akashic records and all sorts of things, because I am a STEM girl at heart. And that is just another realm and aspect that I can tap into in regards to what the ancestors have used previously. Of course, people don't believe in it, and that's fine. That's your opinion. However, in my code aspect, in my perspective, it brings some type of logic to it, because before technology was in place, there were books that we had to read. And before books came about, the ancestors had to rely on the stars and the planets, well, mainly the stars, and the seasons that come about. So I utilize those tools to in whichever aspect in my life, and so far it is doing its justice. So yeah, and that is Lightworker Academy. So if you want any more information on joining the academy, let me know either in the comment section, or you can just DM me on my social media platforms that I use. And of course, I will refer you to the right resources. That's what I'm here for. That's what I like to do. I like to connect people to the resources. I'm not afraid to let somebody know, like, if they need help in a certain area and they really trying to get somewhere, I don't mind sharing the resources. And another disappearance aspect of me not posting within the last 2 weeks of the podcast is that I had to put myself first, meaning I had to listen to my body in regards to what it needs, whether it needed more self-care or self-love, or not just being too hard on myself in regards to always pushing out content so I can be consistent or whatever, or just getting audience engagement, and also just doing some shadow work in the midst of that addressing my fears, the limitations, the limit beliefs, and in all those forms. So yeah, and that's what the Lightworker Academy has been assisting with me so far. I had two, I had two, uh, uh, breakthroughs. Yeah, I had two breakthroughs within the 2 months that I've joined the academy. And so far, it has allowed me to keep pursuing doing what I'm doing now. And I'm loving it. Okay. And one of those breakthroughs, it consisted of the Reiki session. So by the time I finish this academy, I will be a Reiki practitioner. And then whenever I get the clientele in, of course, I will be considered a Reiki master. And definitely when it comes to assisting other people that want to, become a Reiki practitioner or a Reiki master. So yeah, that's what I'm working on in the behind the scenes. So don't think I'm like disappearing from just not doing anything. There's a purpose of me doing things. I like to move in to all aspects of my life. Okay. So just just keep the notification. That's why notifications are essential when it comes to hearing about your favorite content creator and what other uploads or other content that they're putting out. Because if you don't have those notifications on, you don't know exactly when the content creator has posted any videos, or unless they just put on their social media. So yeah, by all means necessary, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, y'all, and hit that notification bell so you'll know the next time I upload either a video on YouTube as well as audio content on my podcast. All right, so that's all that I have for the life update. Oh yeah, another life update is working on the housing fixtures. Like in February, where there was a slight freeze, there was some plumbing issues going on in my building. So yeah, that was a whole nother story in itself, and I wouldn't necessarily ruin my clothes, but my clothes half of my closet was soaking wet because some of my clothes were on the floor. So if you want some of the clothes that I used to wear, because I'm in the process of getting rid of them, let me know in the DM and we'll work out some agreements. I may just set up a shop myself. That way that can go the easy route when it comes to transactions and getting items out. But other than that, that's what has been going on in the life update so far. And of course, stay tuned for a lock journey update because I am approaching a 1.5 years in it. So please be on the lookout on that video, even though it's plain and simple. But of course, people want to know, especially if they want to lock up their hair. All right. So now on to the meat and potatoes of the episode is dealing with self-worth. Okay. And the card that I pulled out from the Chakra Wisdom card deck that I gotten when I first started doing this. And it's the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, that's dealing with the willpower, the self-esteem, self-confidence, all that. Okay. And it says, I honor myself by doing things that please me, not only those that please others. I am empowered as I release the need to live up to other people's unrealistic expectations of me. When I reset or respect and approve of myself, others will naturally do the same. I teach others how to treat and respect me by how I treat myself and respect myself. Also, I know I am worthy of love and respect. The boundaries I create with others acknowledge my self-worth. So please keep that message in mind, because when you are when you are worthy, when you know your self-worth, of course, you don't care what people say, because you know your own self as a person. And of course, the higher spirit, the divine, and the most high is the one who knows you as well. So with that being said, let's get into the definition and what is the self-worth theory, as well as what determines self-worth, and lastly, the 5 ways to develop self-worth. All right. So the definition of self-worth is confused self-esteem, which relies on external factors such as success and achievements to define worth, and can often be inconsistent, leading to someone struggling with feeling worthy. So by definition, this is talking about how people determine their self-worth by money, status, who they hang out with, and so forth and so on. Just like how social media is, and also how people operate within industry realms. Okay. And on top of that, it's also the opinion you have about yourself and the value you place on yourself. For example, you can say you are a good person who deserves good things, versus you can say a person that's bad deserves whatever's coming to them. All right. It's the cause and effect of it all. So that is the definition of self-worth. And that is the definition of self-worth. Now on to what is self-worth theory. Now I'm reading this off of, let's see, my phone is ringing, y'all. My mother is calling. I'll call her back. Hold on, y'all. I'll call you back. I'll call you back. I'm recording. Okay. So the actual website that I'm getting this information from is positivepsychology.com, and it states on one of the segments, what is self-worth theory? So I'm about to scroll up for a minute. Okay, self-worth theory. It is a theory post that individuals' main priority in life is to find self-acceptance. That self-acceptance is also found through achievement. And in turn, achievement is also found through competition with others. So in other words, the theory holds that there are 4 main elements of self-worth model, which is ability, effort, performance, and self-worth. And then what determines self-worth? Well, it says, according to the self-worth theory, self-worth is determined mostly by our self-evaluated capabilities of our performance in one or more activities that we deemed available. However, people commonly use other yardsticks to measure their self-worth. Here are 5 of the top factors that people use to measure and compare their own self-worth to others. Number 1 is appearance. Appearance is whether measured by on the number scale or the size of clothing worn, as well as the kind of attention received by others. So appearance can mean by number scale. If some guys come up to you or your girls and saying, okay, on the scale of 1 to 10, or they would just do it with their peers and be like, okay, y'all, on the scale of 10, how did this person look? And then you'll have this one person say, okay, she a 9 for me. She a dime piece. And then on the other end, you're going to say, oh, she's a 4. She all right. She's not my type, but she's all right. She's a good 4 for me. Well, that could play a part in someone's self-esteem just based off the number scale that you've given for someone's appearance. At the same time, size clothing worn, such as if a person wears designer clothes, their self-worth is more, their status is higher than the person that is wearing Kmart, Walmart stuff. Like me, I wear Kmart and Walmart stuff. Don't sleep on the department stores clothing, because if you got a good eye for fashion, you'll make that work. And don't underestimate the Goodwill and Salvation Army clothing too, because they have some good items as well. All right. And also the kind of attention received by others, you know, colorism, patriarchy, and all those terms: colorism, racism, ageism, all those isms. Okay. And then next is the second top factor is network. This can be main income, material possessions, financial assets, or all the above. So, of course, on the dating scenes, a lot of people expect people to have 6-figure salary, and majority of the time that is not possible due to the fact of the breakdown of businesses that has transpired within the past 2 years, and the business having to do extra contingency plans, meaning they have to readjust how the normal routine used to be and adapt to the times that are changing. Okay. So, yes, a lot of people determine people's self-worth just by how much they make. Compare like a 6-figure salary person compared to a person who makes 4 or 5 figure salaries. They think the 6-figure salary person is more worthy to get their attention and pouring their energy in, other than the person who is making the 4 to 5 figure salary. In my opinion, as long as the person is making an honest living, and is bringing a stable, healthy environment into whoever they interact with, as well as themselves, then that is considered worthy in my eyes. Okay. So, and they're doing their business and doing what needs to be done in the household, whether they are single or paired with someone, or have children. So that's how I determine about someone's self-worth. Okay. Next is number 3 on the list is who you know in your your social circle. So some people judge their own value and value of others by their status and what important and influential people they know. So people will hide behind the mask of their self-worth just by the people who they hang out with, or who they align themselves with. I will give that 20% in that aspect, because you as a person should be able to hold your own status without your social circle, meaning by you as an individual should be able to have enough self-love, self-care, self-admiration, and know thyself enough to where you don't need as many people in your corner to consider yourself worthy. You can be worthy by yourself and have people as an extension of who you are, but don't define your self-worth just by who you hang out with. Because as the old saying goes, show me who you hang with and I'll show you your future. So you definitely got to take heed into trying to claim your self-worth just by who you hang with. Okay. For example, like an organization, like sororities and fraternities. When I was in a youth auxiliary, I used that avenue as networking and as well as extending what values that my parents already established in me. So just being within that organization, it was considered an asset for me. It was considered an extension of what I was already doing, because I was volunteering ever since the age of 8 years old, starting with the food pantry at church. So just by being in that particular organization, it was just an extension to what I was already doing. So yeah, you don't need to define your self-worth just by your association. It can be good and it could be bad. So take heed to that very, very quickly. Okay. All right. And number 4, what do you or your career can define as self-worth? Meaning, we often judge people by what they do. For example, a stockbroker is often considered more successful and valuable than a janitor or a teacher. Well, now that you say that, people do. I don't think they do it as hard nowadays like they do now. Well, in the content creator aspect, when you're, from what I'm seeing from other content creators, especially when they have a high count of followers and influence on them, the first question would be, so how many followers you got? And me, I just be like, well, it depends what platform, it depends. But I'm a type of person that I like to converse with people face to face. It's okay that we have to adapt to where we're not able to converse with people face to face, using FaceTime, Zoom, StreamYard, and all that. However, it's just nothing compared to that face-to-face interaction, that live interaction whenever you ask people questions. Okay, so who knows? The stockbroker you may see the stockbroker on the outside. They may feel worthy from your point of view. However, it may be the flip side of that stockbroker man. Like, man, I even though I make all this money, I still don't have that American dream, as far as like family and a legacy to leave behind. Compared to a janitor or a teacher, even though you may not see them as worthy, they are doing good service of either teaching you the fundamentals in life or cleaning up behind your mess. And who knows, they may be happier behind the scenes, and you may not see it on the outside looking in. However, behind the scenes, it is completely different. So you got to pick and choose your battles if you decide to make your career as your scapegoat to your self-worth. So yeah, choose wisely. Because it just leads to the fact that, okay, is your career defining you, or are you defining it by living in your purpose? Like, is your career fulfilling your soul need, your soul purpose? And if not, then you're living a facade. Unmask yourself, reveal yourself right now. So yeah. And then lastly, number 5, what you achieve. And I had to take a back seat on this as well, because I would have a tendency to do this, especially when it comes to graduating college and stuff, because that is a monumental thing whenever you graduate college, because of the fact that it is so much that goes into not only attending college, but also graduating college. All right, so what you achieve, as noted earlier, we frequently use achievements to determine people's worth, or whether it is your own worth or someone else's, such as success, business, scores on SATs, or placement in a marathon or athletic challenge. I can definitely resonate with the SAT part because I will be a kid that has a 3.5 and plus GPA. However, on the SAT, it says otherwise. Well, compared to the GPA and the SATs as well as ACTs, is that my GPA, I'm learning. I'm learning at the pace that the curriculum is presented, as well as there's tests, there's homework, and of course, lecturing compared to SATs and SATs. Yeah, there's study groups and study sessions for it. However, the test is time. I don't work well with time tests. That's not me. I feel rushed when I'm in the time test, and then all this material that I got to read and then solve the questions within 50-minute time spans. Unless we are able to, at least if we are able to skimp over what has been presented, like speed reading, like getting the main points and being able to answer the question. Yeah, I mean, there's possibility that well, especially me, I can't speak for everybody, that would complete the test in a timely manner. However, nah, that ain't me. Okay, I need all the time that I need to complete whatever you have presented for me, because if not, then I feel rushed. And of course, it's just like, okay, we're gonna have to go back and reinforce some steps that we may have missed that I did not get clearly in order for me to finish that portion on the test. So yeah, I can definitely resonate that part. So yeah, that is the five. Yeah, that is the five top factors on how people determine self-worth. And we're gonna have to stop doing that, because everybody's journey and everybody's life is different. Everybody's upbringing is different, and we're gonna have to go back to the basics of getting to know one another. For as, okay, hi, how are you? What is your favorite food? What is your favorite color? What is your love language? How do you react to under stress? We gotta ask those simple questions, okay? Not the income questions already at the bat. Another way to approach that question is, okay, so what kind of work you do? And the person will answer what kind of work they do, and you'll be like, okay, so that's good. Is it? I mean, you can ask whether it's how the market is or how stable the position is, because companies go through periods of either layoffs or terminations. So it's good to know ahead of time if you're interested in tapping into the same industry that the person that you're connecting with. It's good to know ahead of time. But believe me, it's good to know ahead of time. All right. So lastly, I'm going to leave us with 5 ways to develop self-worth, and it's coming from the same website, positivepsychology.com. Thank you for the information, because it is definitely needed. All right, so number one on the 5 ways to develop self-worth is to increase your self-understanding, meaning self-awareness. And this goes by reevaluating your life, your circumstances, your possessions, your relationships, your friends, your jobs, your statuses, your career, your accomplishments, your achievements, as well as what you watch as well and listen to, whether it's music or podcast form, because that plays into how you react to others. Because you may approach the person either by emotion, or you approach the person by no emotion, or you could just be balanced and approach the person logically with just the right emotions to have some empathy and compassion for one another. So yeah, just imagine everything you have suddenly take away from you, and what would you do about it? And this is an activity experiment that I'm reading on the website. But the first one out of that first point of increasing your self-understanding is imagine that everything has been taken away from you. There used to be a show called Strip on Bravo, and one of the YouTubers, DJ Richie Sky, was on that show. And I wish they would have kept that show, because it really puts you into a whole nother perspective of what would you do if you had nothing and you had to do what you can to survive another day. And then each day they will bring the person that had everything taken away from, they were able to pick out something from their possessions or belonging, only one now, and then return back and do it all over again until the next day, until the network was able to bring all their possessions back, because it brings you into a whole nother perspective of what would you do if this happened. Would you panic? Would you not panic? Or would you do adapt and do what is necessary to take each day one at a time, one step at a time? Okay. And then the second bullet point underneath the first main bullet point of increasing your understanding is ask yourself the following questions. What if everything I have was suddenly taken away from me? What if all that I had left was just myself? How could that make me feel? And what could I actually have that would be of value? So is questioning is bringing you an awareness of, definitely, as I said before, what would you do if these things were taken away from you? Would you still throw a fit, or you show gratitude that everything happens for a reason and I need to do what is necessary to continue to press on? Okay, so that is the first major bullet point. It has several activities, so I highly recommend y'all go check out the website. That is positivepsychology.com, and this is about what is self-worth and how do we increase our self-worth. All right, that is the name of the article. Okay, the second bullet point for 5 ways of developing self-worth is to boost your self-acceptance, meaning by forgiving yourself for anything that needs improvement, struggles, any mistakes that you have made or a person has made, and accept it without any judgment or excuses. So it's learning how to accept everything as is and take that lesson as a blessing. Okay, turn your lemons into lemonade. All right, and accepting the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, and on to number 3 of the 5 ways to develop self-worth is to enhance your self-worth, meaning by saying affirmations or mantras, basically reprogramming your mind to speak positive thoughts, positive affirmation, positive mantras, and not to be so hard on yourself whenever something goes down. Just take it one day at a time and one step at a time, because of course we have the same 24 hours as billionaires out here. However, if your body is telling you to sit down somewhere so I can recalibrate, you need to do just that. Okay. If your body is telling you I'm hungry, okay, give your body some nourishment, make a meal, and then have fun making a meal, because that's part of self-love and self-care. All right. Okay, on to number 4 of the 5 ways to develop self-worth is to recognize your self-worth, meaning to celebrate the small milestones just as much as you celebrate the big milestones. For example, with me, I have 19 subscribers on my YouTube, and I celebrate each subscriber that subscribes to my YouTube channel, because I would say in my videos, like I'm doing now, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel and comment new subby in the comment section, And so I can shout you out in the next video. That's showing gratitude that you are subscribing and you loving the content that I put out. And I'm sharing the milestone on my end of gaining a new subscriber, because that is part of my journey, is showing gratitude, continuing to show gratitude to what you have now. All right. And this is what you all can do as well. You can do a gratitude list. You can just do 1 a day, or you could just do 5 a day. And then by the end of the month, you can look at that list and read it out loud of what all the things that you're grateful for. That way it's another recalibration of your self-love, self-worth, and self-care journey. All right. And also, you don't have to please people all the time. So do what you are capable of doing. Don't try to follow the crowd if the crowd is leading towards a fiery pit. Okay. So yeah, that's all I have for the 4th point. And then the last point of the 5 ways to develop self-worth is to take responsibility for yourself, meaning taking accountability that has happened to you without giving your personal power away, and to voice your matter to that. And your voice matters. Okay. Everybody's voice matters. Everybody has the capability to change or bring influence to a person's life, whether it's good or bad. I just choose the good way because I feel like that's the right way. All right. And yes, your voice matters to that. It can influence events, people's, or circumstances in your life. Meaning, in a nutshell, as the 4 agreements say, your word is impeccable. I'm gonna say that again. Your word is impeccable. Your words have value to it. So anytime you're speaking negatively about something, of course, that's a karma effect to it, because you're speaking that energy out, and it will play, and it can play into itself. So that's why it's best to reprogram your mind, your subconscious, in the mind, in the back of the mind. Reprogram your subconscious to where you are living a healthy, balanced life. And you can do so by taking it easy on yourself, applying self-love, self-care, self-admiration, repeating mantras and affirmations, and the list goes on. And I can recall, now that I'm talking about this, on the show Being Mary Jane, and how Gabrielle Union, being Mary Jane on there, she will post all these sticky notes around the house, and it was either affirmations or something that came into mind, to where she wrote it on a sticky note and put it on the wall or on the window of her house. And each time she will go up to it, I'm pretty sure she would say the affirmation or whatever thought had came into mind at that point that she wrote down. So I would advise to apply that same energy to your life. Write some sticky notes of loving affirmations, loving mantras, and post them around your house, or whether on the mirror, and see how that effect plays into growing into your self-worth and gaining that confidence in your self-esteem. Okay. So that is all that I have for you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this segment. And of course, I'm scoping and I'm shopping around for the best streaming platform to go by. Right now I'm using Zoom, and pretty soon I'm gonna go ahead and merge over to StreamYard. But of course, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm using what I have. Okay. So as I said before, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and leave a comment down below, new subby, so I can shout you out in the next video. I really hope you enjoyed this content. If you don't, that's fine, because I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. That's part of my self-worth. Hello. And I really appreciate all the people who have subscribed to the YouTube channel already. That is Heart of Inspiration. She has subscribed. Thank you. By the way, she is my mentor for the Lightworker Academy. She's actually the director of the Lightworker Academy. Also, Miss Desiree, she has a Quintel. Yeah, Desiree Quintel. She has also subscribed to the YouTube channel recently. And I just really appreciate everybody who comes and views and watch my content. It helps me progress on and on and on. Okay, now I'm getting long-winded. Anything else? Oh yeah, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Well, follow this podcast on Instagram at Missunconventional Podcast, as well as join, I think you follow or join the Facebook group. Anyways, it's on, the podcast is on Facebook as well. Go ahead and join or follow that page as well. Don't forget to go ahead and follow me on all social platforms on the YouTube channel wise. And I have all that in the description below. And of course, I also established another channel as well. It is called Honey Soul Child Bottega. And it definitely consists of what I'm doing now with the Lightworker Academy, with studying metaphysics, tarot, some universal guidance. I have readings on that. I have self-love readings on that channel, as well as lunar readings on that channel. And of course, it's growing. I'm just posting content, y'all. I'm just doing what needs to be done. All right. So, as always, be sure to always love thyself, know thyself, soothe thyself, so you can heal thyself. And I'll see you guys in the next video, as well as the next episode. Bye.